Welcome to episode 662 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm talking about haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal. .podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And thank you for the sound tech check there in the chat. Sweets. And now I forgot where I was going with that. So thank you all for listening. There we go. Whether you are here in the Discord feed or Discord stream, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Trouble Minds Radio Network. Wow, I can't talk tonight. KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Trouble Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, there are different ways to do that. You can always share it with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written over on Amazon, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, including my most recent release, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. And that has material that I've shared on the show before from True Paranormal Stories from the Web, as well as most of my experiences. Everything I can remember anyway. You can also sign up for the Patreon page and get 1 extra episode of True Paranormal Stories from the Web every week, whenever possible. Or you can just make one-time donations to the PayPal page. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. I think that takes care of everything there. So last time on the last of these haunted places in the U.S. shows, we finished off the locations I had for California. So now we are moving on, going alphabetically, to Colorado. And some of these locations that we talk about in these shows, you will have heard of. Others you will not. But I'm sure just about anyone who is interested in the paranormal for any amount of time before is aware of course, the Stanley Hotel over in Estes Park. So this first article here is from hauntedrooms.com. I will include all these articles that I read from or share from in the episode description, so you can check out all the full text, as well as all the pictures, because that is the other neat thing about finding these articles, is all the pictures of the places that I talk about. So be sure to check on the episode descriptions to find those links. So this first article, like I said, is from hauntedrooms.com, and the title of this article is the Haunted History of the Stanley Hotel, Estes Park. So let's see here. It does mention the connection to Stephen King and his book and movie and or miniseries of The Shining. And but regarding the paranormal aspects of the location, it says guests and employees have reported many things there. Two of the most common reported apparitions there are that of the past owner, which is F.O. Stanley, his initials in Stanley, and his wife, Flora. It's reported that Flora likes to play the piano in the ballroom, which her husband gave her as a gift to celebrate the hotel's opening. Now, also, I forgot to mention at the start of the show, Please make sure to check out current information on when. Now it is a hotel, so I'm guessing you can still visit it. But please make sure to check on current information about reserving rooms and just any kind of paranormal tours or activities going on there. Make sure you check on all that before you go, because different places have different rules about what they do or don't allow, and it can change with management of a location. The opinion, the official opinion or stance on the paranormal can change over time, depending on just again the ownership and the people that manage it and all that can play into that. So all these locations, be sure to do that, because I don't recommend trespassing for a number of reasons. So let me see here. I just read that paragraph, so we're good there. So people that have now let me see here. Okay, so guests and employees of the hotel have heard music coming from the piano in the ballroom many times. Several people have also seen the piano keys moving on their own. Now, that can be done with technology, and not even new technology, but if it's not that type of piano, then that would be odd. Others have reported actually seeing the apparition of a woman sitting on the bench and playing the piano. So that's really amazing, because so often you hear about, we heard these sounds, and you have to wonder, is it the object actually being affected and played, or is it more a case of just the sound, some being, some consciousness generating the sound somehow, or residual playback energy sounds. But here, like, there's the other possibility, which is some consciousness, possibly of Flora Stanley, playing the piano physically somehow. So, which is really amazing. Talks about the ornate features, exquisite portraits, and massive mirrors, which, as on the show we've talked about before, can cause, I think, in some cases, paranormal activity. There's a lot to distract people at the hotel from anything else that's going on there as well. In 2015, the article says there was a guest that was taking pictures when they captured what looked like an apparition of a woman in a black dress standing at the top of the stairs. And the guest claimed there was nothing up there that could have caused that kind of image on the camera. And so let me see here. There's also an area. The staircase is also called the vortex by a lot of people in the area, and that's said to also be. It's said to be a spiral of energy, which is really amazing. I wonder how, if spiral shapes can sort of cause and collect and affect energy to cause paranormal activity, just by the nature of it being a spiral shape. That might be something to look into, the possibility of just spiral staircases or structures somehow causing anomalous events around them, just by the nature of their shape and or materials they're made of, as well as their shape. I think that could be fun to look into sometime. But getting back to the document here, and let's see here. So now from there, there's multiple buildings on the site, and one of them is the concert hall. And the Flora, the past owner's wife there, is also seen there. And then there's another most famous apparitions that of Paul. who was a former hotel employee. He didn't. No one. The article says he didn't have a specified role, but he would do all the odd jobs and tasks that weren't covered by the other employees at the location. And one of these was to enforce an 11 p.m. curfew for guests, which of course is from the past there, which is maybe why people can hear him sometimes telling them to get out of the concert hall. Another ghost that is known to be at the concert hall is that of Lucy, who apparently was according to the article here, a homeless woman who sought refuge in the theater. She likes to apparently interact with guests and has been known to respond on command through flashlights and knocks. So communications with turning on or off the flashlights for answers. Same with knocks. You've probably heard that before. The whole idea of setting a certain number of knocks to be one thing like yes, and then another set number to be no. I think it's like usually 1 for yes, 2 for no. And now the other section in the area that they talk about in this article are something I hadn't heard of before, which are underground caves. And these are seen, the article says that if you book one of the late night ghost tours of the Stanley Hotel, your last stop will probably be the underground caves and tunnel system. And this area was where employees would move around the hotel without getting in the way, basically, of guests or causing clogging the hallways or whatever. They could just go and use these tunnels instead. So there's a few. So there's apparently some spirits that like to move around down there. The hotel is also built on a high concentration of limestone and quartz, which is believed to supercharge spirit energy. So, and this is before we even get to just the rooms, the individual hotel rooms there. So this is a location I think you could probably do several shows on, but it has been done before, covered before, and so that's why we're just doing this in this sort of a brief way here. But talks about, let me see here. First, it starts with, once I find my spot again, and because I lost it. And okay, so the 4th floor, it says, has had the most reports of activity, but there have been plenty of reports in other locations, such as well as the 4th floor, such as noises, footsteps, voices, and other events as well that have been reported throughout the hotel. It says that pretty much any room on the 4th floor has had some kind of some kind of events going on there. But the most requested haunted rooms, and this is something you can do as long as you book way in advance, requested haunted rooms, as in you can ask for rooms that are said to have a lot of activity so that you can stay there and hopefully experience it. Which I have to say, if I had the money and the ways to get there, I would do that. Which would be, the rooms would be 217, 401, 407, 418, and 428, according to this article here. So this is some of the places that they go into in this article. Room 217, the most famous room in the hotel, and it is where Stephen King, now the writer and of many novels and short stories, one of my favorite writers overall, got his inspiration for the book The Shining. And I believe I have reviewed that book before in a previous episode of this show, quite a ways back now. Excuse me. So, anyway, it's basically about a hotel that is extremely haunted and interacts with an extremely psychic child in a way. So, but when Stephen King and his wife stayed at the Stanley one night in 1974, it says it was at the end of the season, because they have seasons there where they get more activity than others. As far as they have seasons where the hotel is open more and or open, I guess, and then closed. And so they were the only guests there that night at the hotel with a handful of employees. And this is where the inspiration for this novel, The Shining, came from, because in that novel, the family that is featured in that novel go there so that the father can take a job as a caretaker for this massive hotel that is going to be empty except for them. So, and apparently the Kings ate in an empty dining room in the evening, and they had the hotel had pre-recorded orchestra music before they headed back up to their room. And so during the night, says King was having a terrible nightmare about his 3-year-old son being chased around the empty hotel and screaming, which is not a good dream. And waking up, he realized it was a dream, which is good, and headed out onto the balcony to get some fresh air, and then also to smoke. And that's where the sort of the seed of the idea, or the novel idea, came from. King also, it says here in the article, King also saw the spirit of a young child in the hallway outside his room. I wonder if that could be some kind of a thought form interaction with him, going something to do with his own mind going on there. Not to say that apparitions aren't real, but he's written so many stories. He's covered so many paranormal things, and it wouldn't surprise me if his mind is sort of more powerful than even he realized there, and either created or connected with other energies there and sort of caused that image, possibly. I don't know. That's just a thought there. And moving on to other activity here, room 217 is said to be haunted by the ghost of Mrs. Wilson, the hotel's former head housekeeper. And apparently she likes to move items, unpack luggage, and turn lights on and off. She's also strict, it says, and doesn't seem to like unmarried couples sleeping together in the same room. Past guests have reported a sudden cold force coming between them in bed. I've heard of that in other locations as well. And if you think about that, just the way culture and society has been in the past, and things change, and so that things that are considered to be okay now would not have been however long ago this was, when this head housekeeper was actually there. So it says room 217 is as popular as you'd expect, and you can't reserve it online, says, so you'll need a call to reserve to see when it's available. So moving on to room 401, we won't get through this entire article, it's looking like, but I will include this and the other article that talks about the location in the episode description. Moving on to room 401. It says possibly the creepiest room in the hotel and the supposed favorite room of the Ghost Hunters TV show cast. 401 is where they had a closet basically open on its own, supposedly for one of the investigators there. Just keep in mind, I'm not saying that it was faked, because I don't know, but just keep in mind when it comes to TV shows, even if the investigators are being honest, the TV companies, the networks, may not be above faking things or affecting things or getting people to act or do things that that make things look a certain way. So it's always my note when it comes to TV shows. But the room is also reportedly haunted by an unfriendly male spirit, and if you're so it says that if you're female and you stay in that room, just don't stand by the closet alone, as others claim to have been have had physical contact made there, which is not good. One former guest claims to have seen his wedding ring lift up off of the bathroom counter and drop down the drain. Wow, in the bathroom sink. That's not good. Anyway, so yeah. Moving on to, we'll do at least 407 here. It's another area that is active. Several people have reported a spirit who likes turning the lights off and on. There's also been unexplained noises reported in the room, and there's also a face that has often been seen in the room's window from guests looking up to the room while they're outside of the hotel. Room 418. Let's see here. So the now this also talking about like the hallway outside of the rooms on that floor, and apparently there's been reports of the presence of children, the sounds of children laughing and playing in the hallways, in just outside the doors of that room of 418, was it? Yes, 418. So that must be a suite. So you have multiple rooms in that same room. Says that a 4-year-old girl staying in this room with her mother said that there was a little boy tickling her feet in the middle of the night, but after asking him to stop, he disappeared. So that's really odd. But and this could be the ghost, it says, of Billy, who is believed to be a little boy who likes to roam the hotel and basically cause chaos there. Room 428. We'll end with this here, and we'll probably won't even get through all of this here. It's haunted by the ghost of a friendly cowboy. No one knows who he is, but they've seen his shadow at the foot of their beds and in the corner of the room. And some people have reported seeing him there. There's also been footsteps heard above the room, as well as the sound of furniture being dragged around. But this is even stranger because the slope of the roof would make it impossible for anyone to be up there walking around. So this rest of the article here is about the history of the location, which I will leave for you all to check out on your own. It's fairly well known, and you can find it through this article here or just about any other location or any other website that talks about the place. So yeah, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.